Hey everyone, this is Chris here with Daily Motor, and today I am without Charlie, but I am with the 2023 GMC Sierra 1500 AT4X. GMC has gone one step above the AT4 and added an X to the end of the name. And you may be wondering, well, what's the incentive for adding an X to the end of your AT4 badge? Well, most importantly, this thing sits 2 inches higher than the regular AT4 truck, meaning you get about 11 inches of ground clearance, which I know sounds like the Topher fact. I know you all don't come to Daily Motor to hear about ground clearance, but when talking about a truck like this, I feel like it's quite important. You also get front and rear locking differentials standard with this AT4X, and this truck really doesn't have a lot of the AT4X specific options. So you can actually get this truck with some cool steely style looking wheels. You can get it with some very aggressive black steel bumpers that I imagine give you even more, probably not more ground clearance, but better approach and departure angles if you are off-roading with this truck. Now, I've been living with this thing for a couple of days now, and I'm excited to tell you guys what it's been like. Excuse the traffic here. I am in Boulder, Colorado here with my family for the weekend. GMC has so graciously loaned us this truck for the week. So excited to spend the rest of my week, but even more excited to tell you guys what it's been like so far. This one's finished in Desert Sand Metallic, which I was a little bit iffy on at first, but it's actually a very pretty color. It kind of elevates this flat tan that I feel like Toyota started the trend with this tan color, but GMC's kind of taken it to the next level. It looks nice on this Sierra AT4X, adds to the kind of off-road and rugged vibe of this truck, paired with the black wheels, the the body color bumpers. Overall, it's just a pretty sweet look. But what I like about this AT4X is that it is a GMC Sierra, and if you watch Daily Motor, you know that this is pretty much our favorite truck in the 1500 series segment. At least it's mine. I've grown to really like these GMC and Chevy trucks. I'm a big fan of the infotainment, the interior, the way that they look overall, and this GMC AT4X is certainly no different. So let's take a look at some of the just kind of regular things that you get on a GMC truck. It's got this optional tailgate here that splits in two, which I know a lot of you are probably familiar with. They made a huge deal about this a few years ago at the auto show when they released it. The idea here is you're able to do many different things with this tailgate. So for example, with this top part folded down, you can sit here and work on your laptop or eat a cheeseburger or whatever you decide that you want to do. But most importantly, and what I think is the coolest thing, is you can open it like this and it becomes a step. So that's the most useful way that I've found to use this thing. So you can step up in here into the bed, track all sorts of mud back here and everything else. But this one's got a cool feature back here as well. It's got a kicker subwoofer in the tailgate. So if you're a fan of DM sound, or you've been watching Charlie's sound system reviews for a while, this would be something that we should urge him to review if we get one of these back in Michigan at the HQ. I think that would be cool to just kind of see how this kicker system works. You've got two different inputs here as well, USB and aux. So that's kind of neat. Control it with this panel here, and there's the actual speaker itself. This particular truck is fitted with the 6.2 liter gas V8, meaning 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. 6.2 liter truck motor, nothing special going on there. Just lots of taps here to try not to track mud into the truck, though I kind of already have. Woo, got nice and muddy. Okay, let's fire it up. Large start-stop button. It's almost like you can hit it with 2 or 3 fingers, so that's kind of neat. I'm going to put the visor down just for a second. We'll put that back up once we actually get driving, but I want you guys to be able to see this interior with no glare. So this is pretty standard GMC truck interior. The only differences I've noticed are you get these AT4X badges on the seats and the door panels, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that you get this kind of baseball style stitching on the regular GMCs either. We've also got this unique looking trim here on the doors, as well as some wood that runs along the dash. So even though this is kind of a rugged off-road spec, we do have some luxuries in here as well. Heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, of course fully automatic climate control, wireless Apple CarPlay with this big, I want to say 13-inch display, which works quite well. It's got built-in Google Maps, so even if you're up here in the boonies with no signal, You've still got a nice map here that looks like it is fully refreshes and everything. So built-in Google Maps is something that I always like to see on cars. Let's go ahead and grab the Monroney. I'm going to start saying Monroney again this year, guys, and you'll just have to put up with me. So this particular truck is $80,935, and I'm a little bit confused still, because if you go on GMC's website and you build out an AT4X, it says that the base price is like 83 grand. So I'm a little confused with the spec on this particular truck, but this window sticker says the car starts at 77,000. And with options being the rocker protection, which is a dealer installed option, the desert sand metallic, and a credit for not having a steering column lock, which is strange. I couldn't see how that would be chip related. I mean, it wouldn't be. It's kind of it's a mechanical thing, right? Unless it's an electronic thing that that locks it. Brings our total $80,935. So just over 80 grand for this truck. And, you know, I don't know. It's tough for me because GM doesn't make a high performance off-road truck like Ford and Ram do with the Raptor and the TRX. So if you want something off-road focused from GM, you have to go with either the AT4 or the AT4X, or over at Chevy, the ZR2. I believe it's called. They had one called the Trail Boss. I don't know if they still make that, but the ZR2 is where you go at Chevy. Let's actually go ahead and step into the back seat. We'll show you guys that real quick. Getting out of my flow here. It's weird doing a review without Charlie with me. All the cool GM stuff here in the back. Of course, the seats go up to reveal another compartment down there to put some things. I've got my snow scraper back there right now because it was rattling around in the back seat, driving me crazy. And my favorite thing about GM trucks and GMs as a whole is they always give you hidden compartments. And here you've got some compartments on both of the rear seat backs. I don't know what you'd put in there. I'll leave that up to your imagination. And you can actually make it look quite hidden if you tuck the strap in. I mean, you can't tell that that opens, can you? You reach in here, grab your strap out, pull it open, and you've got one mirrored over there on that side, as well as a fold-down armrest there in the middle. No real side steps. I think these are kind of like rock runners if you're going off-road, whatever those are called. I'm not really an off-roading enthusiast, so I'm not too sure. But like any 1500 series truck with 4 doors, we've got a ton of room in the back seat, a ton of headroom, ton of legroom, all the good stuff. Handles on all 4 entries to the truck, so you can pull yourself into this beast. And I'm looking up and just realizing my favorite part about this interior is the Alcantara headliner. I believe GM still calls it Alcantara, if not suede, whatever. It's very nice, and if you're in the back seat, you can spend your time petting this if you lose signal on your cell phone. Nothing too complicated back here, just a couple of heated rear seat buttons, which do actually function. No weird chip shortage things here for that. And 2 USB inputs, A and C back here, and some vents to point at yourself if you need. 2 cup holders here, 2 cup holders in the fold-down armrest, and then you've got a couple more in the doors. I'll have you guys look here at the dash from the back seat. Everything back here, cool. All right, let's go ahead and get up front, take this thing for a quick drive. And I'll give you a verdict at the bottom of the mountain. Oh, just talking about the handles. I don't even use them. Okay. There's no getting around tracking mud into this thing, so just have to get over it. So, 6.2 liter V8, that's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, which GM always gets right. I believe I'm right in saying it's the same transmission that you get in a Ford F-150 or F-Series truck. I don't know if it's the exact same, but it's very similar. They're both Allison transmissions, and GM just gets the tuning so right with theirs, where Fords are a little bit clunky. GMs are always butter smooth. So that's my favorite thing about GM trucks mechanically. You can hear all that mud coming off our tires. Camera rearview mirror, which is nice as well. We had this thing packed to the brim with luggage in the back seat. We didn't want anyone to steal anything out of the bed, so we utilized the big back seat yesterday. And it didn't even matter that I couldn't see out the back window, because of course we have the camera rearview mirror. Once you're actually rolling in this thing, like I said, you can't even feel those shifts from that 10-speed. They are just butter smooth. The 6.2 liter does leave some to be desired. You know, you've got 420 horsepower in this thing, which does sound like a lot, but this is a big, heavy truck. And it's it's definitely not quick, you know, and I think that's where GM really lacks with their off-road trucks, like I was talking about earlier, because they don't have anything to compete with the Raptor or the TRX, and I think that they could thrive if they had a truck like that. They could throw the supercharged Blackwing motor in a truck and give it a gazillion horsepower like they do with the Escalade V, and I think it would be quite a cool thing. So I think they're really missing out on that market, but at least they have some cool things like this AT4X, AT4, ZR2, whatever you may want. You're still able to get an off-road trim. And as far as driving it goes, I mean, it's easy. The steering's pretty light, and even on this canyon road, I still have a good amount of confidence. This thing doesn't really feel super cumbersome, which is nice. I was driving it downtown Boulder earlier, and I mean, it's just simple. I didn't run over any curbs or cyclists or anything, really. And just coasting it here down the canyon road, 50 miles an hour here. Of course, you feel a good amount of body roll and sidewall smash, or whatever they call it when the tire rolls over on the sidewall, but it's a cozy thing. With this 2-inch lift, how does it ride? Well, the ride is pretty good. Obviously, with this being a body-on-frame vehicle, you know, you get your large and small bumps that all just end up feeling medium. Nice bite with the brake pedal. No complaints there. EPA rating on this AT4X is somewhere in the teens. I want to say 14 city, 16 highway. As you can see, this trip I've been averaging 13 mpg, so it's certainly not a fuel sipper. It does gulp fuel, but luckily it does not require premium, so you're able to save in that way. But if you're buying a V8 truck, you've kind of got to expect that you're going to be giving up some MPGs in that way. Even the 6-cylinder EcoBoost Fords don't do too much better, high teens, low 20s. So it's also very quiet in this interior. It's astounding how luxurious trucks have gotten in the past 15, 20 years, because this is a full-on luxury suite in this. And I know we're not in the Denali or the Denali Ultimate, which take it even to another level above this truck, but I mean, you've got everything you need in here to really drive this every day and have this be your family hauler and have it be really luxurious. So let's see if we can hear this 6.2. Yeah, doesn't make any noise at all. It's pretty quiet. Every heated element you could want, cooled seats. You've even got 2 different choices here. If you only want it to heat your back, you can hit this middle button and it won't heat your butt. But if you want full suite, you've got it there at the bottom. It's also got every camera you could imagine, which is great. If you are off-roading, you can check out your sides, front, rear, anything you want in that respect. And it also helps for parking, this big thing, having the 360 camera. There's a bed camera. We've got 3 drive modes, none of which obviously are sporty driving modes. Oops, that was my lights switch. Did not mean to do that. You've got terrain, off-road, and normal. Obviously, we've been rolling in normal mode. But if you want to do some off-roading, you do have those options. I think overall, this AT4X as a package is going to be for a very specific buyer, because don't forget, you can still have the AT4. So unless you really need an extra 2 inches of ground clearance here with the AT4X, I don't really see the point in getting it. I mean, it does look cool, it looks tough, and there are those really cool bumpers you can fit in the different wheels. So if you want to have this as a mall crawler, I mean, it's one heck of a mall crawler, and you can run over all the curbs in the world. But I don't really know that I see the point for most people. I certainly think it's cool, and I respect the fact that they offer this package, because like we've talked about in the past, different trim levels of vehicles are cool. I mean, I like to have the option to get an extra 2-inch lift and different bumpers and different wheels. I think cars are becoming a little bit diluted nowadays, and manufacturers aren't offering enough options. So I certainly appreciate GM in that respect to offer this AT4X package to give people that option to sit up a little higher and flex on all the other parents at soccer practice. It's definitely a cool thing. Or if you're out here in Colorado, you want to hit some trails, this is the truck for that, and it'll do all of the things with the front and rear locking diffs and the drive modes, everything else. Got a 4-wheel drive selector down here with your mode dial. You can go auto, 4 high, 2 high, or 4 low. All the stuff. Is there behind us? Of course not. Just want to do a bit of an acceleration to show you guys the power of the 6.2. All right, we'll come to a complete stop and just gas it. So there's this little 0 to 50 there for you. Obviously, it's not a slouch. You know, it's got enough power still, but leaves a little to be desired. And hitting these corners, I mean, nothing wrong with the steering. It's tough to get steering right in big vehicles. And I think for the vehicle, the steering feels just about perfect in this GMC. And I gotta say, I'm still Team GM when it comes to 1500 series trucks. I'm just such a big fan of these Sierras and Silverados. They just feel nice. There's nothing rattling in here. There's nothing that feels loose. And that's a big problem I had with the F-150, the newest generation. It feels a little bigger inside of that truck. It feels a little more open, but all the materials, they feel a little bit cheaper and things rattle in there, and the doors don't feel as nice, which is hilarious to say, but with that aluminum construction of that F-150, it just doesn't feel as nice as this. I don't know, and I apologize if you're a Ford guy and you're listening to this, because I do really still like the F-150. I just think that I would choose a GM truck over it. Would I choose an AT4X? I don't really know that I would. I think if it were up to me, I'd go for a high country Chevy with Super Cruise, or a Denali. You could go for a Denali or a Denali Ultimate, because Super Cruise is like the best self-driving system that they have out there in this price point, in my opinion. Right now, we had Super Cruise on that high country Silverado we were driving last year, and it was just the best. It was so nice. So overall, you know, I'm a big fan of GM trucks still. I think the AT4X, like I said, it's for a very specific group of people, but I just appreciate that GM offers so many different trim levels and packages with their trucks. It is much appreciated. Turn signal makes a bit of a strange noise. It's like a horse galloping, like the Ford Mustang, I think, does a similar one. All right, cool guys. Well, that's gonna wrap it up today for our quick drive here on this AT4X. We're gonna find a parking spot. We'll do one last walk around to show you that beautiful desert sand metallic paint. I feel like the sun is setting. Is the sun setting? I don't know. Have no concept of time anymore. We spent 2 weeks in California. Now I'm in Colorado. I was in Michigan for a week. Don't know. And I know Charlie's a big anti-shifter person, but I appreciate having this shifter down here, and it feels a heck of a lot better than the stupid folding shifter in the F-150. So GM, you've gotten that right. Though I would like to have a column shifter, especially because there's nothing here. They could just have a little power column shifter if you were to argue against the shifter. But honestly, I'm cool with either. That chime's obnoxious. Okay, here we go. One last look at the truck. All right, well, cool guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back to our normally scheduled content very soon. You'll see Charlie in the passenger seat, or me in the passenger seat, I suppose. But anyways, thank you all for hanging out with me here in Colorado, driving this GMC Sierra 1500 AT4X with the 6.2 liter finished in desert sand metallic. I quite like this truck, and I'd certainly recommend a GM truck. This is non-biased. I've driven them all, and I honestly really rank these GM trucks first. So that'll be it for today. Thank you all again so much for watching. This has been Chris here with Daily Motor, and as always, Boulder on.